In this video I present to you the Valorant map update timeline. Over the past few days I've been digging into all the Valorant patch notes, searching for every single map update so that you could see how the maps have formed over these past few years to the maps that we all know and love. Or hate, of course. Blech. I would say sit back, relax, and let's start with the very first real update. Patch 1.0, also known as the official release of Valorant. In this patch, a very important update came to Split, because in the early beta the middle of Split looked like this. The choke point in middle was so small, which meant that it was very defender-sided. So in patch 1.0, Riot Games made middle a bit less narrow. They also added a new map, Ascent, and apparently the train station maintenance crew was able to replace the burnt out speaker system. I have no idea what that means, and a certain frog's head is now a little warmer. This one is actually pretty funny. You see the old picture of Split? All the way in the back you see a little frog, right? In this update, this frog actually got a head, a Teemo head. Very important for the game mechanics, I guess. Patch 1.02. In this patch, Riot Games got rid of a lot of red spots. Like a lot of red spots. The red spots during this time of Valorant were a huge problem. There were way too many, so here's every spot that Riot Games removed. On Haven they added a barrel on the left side of Link, crates on the other side of Link, no more reds on the left side of Garage. This spot used to be so broken. They also removed this spot on C-Long. On A-Long they made these crates like half the length. On Ascent they added barrels on the right, extra barrels on the Skilljoy ultimate spot. Okay, did you know that these crates weren't always there? On Bind, no more reds in bedroom, also no more reds in middle because they made the arch like round instead of straight. And the last one is in the defender spawn of Split. They made the iron bar bigger, so no more reds in this corner. I'm so happy with these updates, by the way. Patch 1.10, Icebox got added to the game. And that's it. That was the only map update. Patch 1.14, Icebox got a lot of balance changes. This map actually was completely broken on the release. These changes were a complete rework on Belt. They made this wall diagonal, so there would be less reds. Bye bye to the double boxes over here. And they made the yellow container a little bit lower. Next patch. This is early 2021 now. In this year, the first map update was done in patch 2.01. During this time, Valorant had a huge problem, and that's that Split was way too defender-sided. The OG players out there know that the games on the old Split usually would go like 2 to 10 on the attacker side, then you switch to the defender side, and then you win like 13 to 11. So in this patch, a lot of changes to Split to help the attacker-sided players. They made the entrance of B long larger, added more space to plant on B, placed 2 crates over here next to elbow, removed 2 red corners in the defender spawn, made the entrance to vent room smaller, also removed the red corner over there. Also bye bye 2 red corners on A side and a red corner in sewers, but nobody's red players. They added a red corner at the scuttle shack. And finally in Heaven they made this wall diagonal, also to prevent reds. Then we move on to patch 2.8. In this patch everyone's favorite map got released, Breeze. Welcome to the game, Breeze, everybody loves you. After this patch, long time no map updates, all the way till patch 3.5, with another release of a new map, Fracture. Another map that everybody loves. Right? Patch 3.6, finally a big map update patch. During this period, planting and defusing the spike on a lot of maps was way too hard. The reason? A lot of boxes on these maps were wallbangable. And this was a big problem because it's not very fun if you try to plant a spike and an enemy that you can't even see wallbangs you through a box. So to tackle this problem, Rito Games changed a lot of wallbangable boxes with metal boxes where you can't shoot through. The spots that got affected is A side on Fracture, B side on Icebox, a little bit of C side on Haven, then we have A side on Ascent, and finally A side on Bind. Patch 3.9. Since the release of the new map Fracture, a lot of players noticed that they struggle on the defender side. So in this patch they made a few changes to help the defender side. The barrier next to Arcade got pushed a little more to the attacker territory. Same for the barrier in Heaven. This gave the defenders a little more space to play in. The orb got placed a little close to the defender side players, so they had the chance to contest it. And finally they added a box in the attacker spawn. The reason for this box is to block the view of the lurkers, otherwise you would have way too much info for a quick peek. Happy New Year everyone, we go to 2022 now with patch 4.0. A mega update in this one. Agents got reworked, guns got reworked, the whole rank system got reworked, and a lot of map changes. Mainly on Breeze though. This wall got shorter, they added crates in main, also crates next to the wall on B, removed the strange red corner in mid, and on A side they changed the crates for an orange container. I honestly thought that the orange container was always there. On top of this, also 2 small bind updates. They added a bench over here, so the attacker sided player can peek from 2 angles, and and these two crates they changed for this one. Nah, the pixel shots aren't possible anymore. Let's move on to the next patch now, patch 4.04. This one is for all the OG players out there. Who remembers the old Icebox? When Icebox first got released, almost every player hated this map, and not without a good reason, because it was so broken. On this map there were way too many red spots, B-side was impossible to take as the attackers, and a lot of spots on this map just felt unnatural to play. So this patch, a complete Icebox rework. This rework includes a different entrance into B main. B main also got a little wider, just like Cubby. Also they rotated the yellow container. This makes playing from here feel a little more natural. And oh, you see that over there? That small entrance used to be the entrance to Nest. That's just unplayable, so luckily they moved it a little to the right and made it wider. They also made the whole freaking site a little smaller, made it so you can't walk through the hut, reduced the planting area and removed this box, rotated this wall and kitchen, placed the metal box over here, reduced the size of ramps, placed back this green box that I removed in an earlier patch, also some changes at this spot, and finally decreased the height of the entrance of A main. I know, so many changes on Icebox, but these changes were so needed, man. I think this was really a turning point for this map, and after this rework, this map is probably not the most hated map in Valorant anymore. Patch 5.0, a very special patch because a new map got released, Pearl. One of the better maps in my opinion. They also added competitive map rotations in this patch, so to make room for Pearl, they removed Split from the rotation. Bye bye Split. Patch 5.6 now. In this patch, Pearl got some changes. Also, do you recognize the pattern? Usually when a new map gets released, a few patches later this map will get updated, because then the community had some playtime on it, and it's easier to spot flaws of the map like that. And Pearl had a major flaw. I actually made a video about it years ago, and that video went completely viral. At this moment it has 3 million views. Thank you so much for the support if you followed me back then. But in that video I described that some agents could hide behind this wall over here, and some agents couldn't. This was because the model of some agents was larger than other agents, usually because of a head or a ponytail like Sage. Of course this is a very unfair mechanic, and that's why in this patch they made the wall a little lower. This wasn't the only update though. They also removed this red corner number 4, remaked mid a little bit, also with the goal to remove reds. Also no more reds in this corner, and this one. Man, I now realize that Riot Games really removed a lot of red corners from every map, and still I get killed from so many red players every game I play. But yes, this one is the last update, and voila, we got a reworked Pearl now. From patch 5.6 we go to the very next patch, patch 5.7, because what happened over here? Another map got completely reworked, and this time Fracture got updated. The changes include a bigger cubby, an easier to reach bomb site, and smaller entrance to site for the defenders. No more red spot over here. Same for B main. They moved the box on platform all the way to the back. They basically made the box useless now. Dish got closed, which means less red spots. They made it easier to jump back onto drop, and they opened up the rafters over here. Okay, let's go to the next patch. This is in a new year again, 2023. Usually the first patch of a new year is extremely big, and patch 6.0 wasn't any different. First up, we got a new map, Lotus. Welcome to the map pool, Lotus. This is actually a pretty nice map. To make room for Lotus though, the map rotation also changed, so from this patch, Breeze and Bind weren't playable in competitive anymore. However, my friends, Split is back! Whoop, 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 whoop. After being one of the oldest Valorant maps, Split still had some problems though, and that's that it was still too defender-sided. So they made A main a little wider, created a red spot for the attacker-sided players over here, removed the rafters on the left side of A, remaked this part in heaven, changed up mid a little bit, removed this garbage bin, and finally removed this red spot on B side. Okay, for the next map update we need to make a very big jump, all the way to patch 6.7 with a very controversial update. Till this point in Valorant, every map that got reworked was reworked because they had big problems. It could have been that the map was too defender-sided, there were too many red spots, or people simply didn't like the map. However, in patch 6.7, Riot Games made a bold move and reworked a map that a lot of players actually really liked. I'm talking about Bind. And these weren't small changes. What did they do? They changed the location of the teleporter, made this wall longer and this wall shorter, changed up Tetris a little bit, placed the barrel over here for an insane head glitch spot, removed this red corner on the left, made the entrance to B from the defender spawn larger, and finally added a small window over here. Luckily, most of the community liked these updates, so even though it was a risk to update the map that everybody already loved, they made Bind better in the end and more playable. Next patch, patch 6.8. Of course, Bind got updated, but those updates don't mean anything if Bind isn't in the competitive rotation. So in the very next patch, they added Bind back into the rotation and removed Icebox from the competitive pool. Let's go to patch 6.11 now. In this one, not a very big update, but just some small fixes on Pearl. They made a red corner on the right over here. What? They made a red corner? Rito Games, who are you? Didn't know you could do that. Increase the width of the platform, decrease the width of screens, and made it so you can jump on these boxes from the back of side. Patch 7.4 now. In this patch, a new baby got born, and the name of the baby is Sunset. Welcome to the game, Sunset. To make room for Sunset though, Fracture and Pearl got removed from the competitive rotation, and the most beloved Valorant map, Breeze, got back added into the rotation. With the cool rework. Again, Breeze has gotten a lot of reworks over the years. This time they closed off the left side of mid. It's shaping a little bit more to the map we now know. They closed off the entrance from the back side of B. Now you need to jump on the side from the boxes instead. Also, they closed off this whole hall area, which means that this area of the map just never got played in. They placed down these boxes to create a little cover if you want to push into mid. They completely remade A main. And finally, do you spot the difference over there? Oh yeah, wait, the small platform at the bottom of the pyramid. Apparently by adding this vertical wall, abilities could land a little smoother next to the pyramid. Patch 8.0 now. A new year with another huge update. Updates like an agent rework, a whole new gun, the Outlaw, and of course some maps got updated. And one of these maps was Icebox. Again. Honestly, like Icebox and Breeze, these maps get an update every other patch, but I mean, these maps really deserve those updates. So, what did change in 2024? First up, they added a container on top of this blue container, placed this green container a little higher to create more space, added a window at the end of tube, also placed a box over there, and finally rotated these containers to block off the right side. All these changes were to make attacking on this map a little easier. Icebox wasn't the only map that got updated in this patch. We finally also got some changes on Lotus now. They made a red corner here in long, also made a red corner in this part of the map, changed the HUD on A side a little bit, created more cover on B side, completely changed the planting area on C, and they finally added also some boxes over there. Patch 8.01. You remember when they blocked off the hall? Yeah, never mind that update. They opened it again. It's for the better though, because when it was blocked, this part of the map was like the most useless part of any map in Valorant. Patch 8.11. Bye bye Breeze, bye bye Split, and hello Abyss, the newest map of Valorant. It got added into the competitive rotation in this patch. Another map that got added into the rotation was Haven, and with this map they actually didn't rework anything. You know what I say, if something isn't broken, then don't try to fix it. Patch 9.8. Bye bye Icebox, bye bye Lotus, and hello Pearl and Split in the competitive rotation. Fun fact, at this point Pearl was actually out of the competitive rotation for over 1 year and 2 months. That's insane, I personally loved Pearl so much. So glad that they finally put this map back into the pool. The crazy part is that after all this time they didn't update this map, but instead they reworked another map, Sunset, with the goal in mind, make retaking B a little easier. So in main they moved this box to the left and added a new box over here, made the entrance into side a little smaller, also removed the boxes on the right. They did some magic on the side itself and a little more magic, wow. Changed the layout of the boxes over here, and finally added a random crate here in middle. Patch 10, the first patch of 2025. In this patch no big map update, however Ascent and Sunset went out of the pool, and Fracture and Lotus got back into the competitive pool. Also, from now on, the map rotations will be every act instead of randomly when a new map comes out. Patch 10.4. Bye bye Abyss, bye bye Bind, hello Icebox and Ascent. And about Ascent, in this patch, the first Ascent update since 2022 came to the game. Yup, except for some bug fixes, 3 years ago was the last Ascent update. So, what did they change? They made this wall next to B main unpenetratable. No more wallbang kills with a sofa arrow now. And this brings us to patch 10.8. Bye bye Fracture from the competitive pool. Welcome back to Sunset though, and this is the point where we are at the making of this video. Phew, I hope you liked this video. It took a little longer for me to upload this one, just because the research that got into this video was like insane. It took way more time than I initially expected, but in the end I think we got a very cool timeline. And if you enjoyed these last few minutes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.